Far beyond the known borders of the galaxy, where starlight barely touched the emptiness, a silent warning echoed through the interstellar communication networks of the Great Alien Coalition. The message was clear and urgent. Avoid the shadow. Vessels. These ships, ancient and abandoned, drifted aimlessly in uncharted space, their origins and purpose lost to time. Legends told of crews who ventured too close, only to vanish without a trace, their fates sealed by unseen dangers lurking in the dark corridors. No alien species had ever dared to reclaim or explore these vessels fully, fearing the curse that seemed to hang over them like a thick, unyielding fog. Yet, for humans, warnings were often invitations to explore further. Captain Mara Voss stood before her crew aboard the flagship Intrepid Dawn, her eyes sharp and determined. The coalition leaders had dismissed her plans as reckless, too much, risk for little reward, but Mara knew the true value of what lay hidden. Humans were known throughout the galaxy for their stubborn bravery and restless curiosity, qualities that often led them into perilous situations, but also to remarkable discoveries. As the Intrepid Dawn moved closer to the first of the shadow vessels, a cold tension settled over the crew. The derelict ship loomed ahead, its dark hull scarred by unknown battles, flickering faintly with strange, erratic energy signatures. Mara's team prepared to board with cautious optimism, aware that this mission could be their last. Crossing the airlock, they entered a world frozen in time. The inside was a maze of corridors tangled in shadows, where flickers of old alien technology hummed softly, but with an eerie unpredictability. Walls were marked with symbols no one could read, and the silence was broken only by the distant creaks of a ship settling in the void. The explorers found signs of former inhabitants, tools left as if abandoned in haste, strange devices that defied explanation, and walls etched with patterns that hinted at a story lost to memory. Yet, amidst the cold metal and the quiet, there was a feeling, something alive and watching, though invisible. Cameras and sensors occasionally picked up anomalies, sudden temperature drops, faint pulses of energy that seemed to follow their movements, and shadows that shifted without source. Every step forward increased the tension, but the crew pressed on, driven by the same unshakable spirit that had pushed humanity into the stars from their humble beginnings on Earth. Mara felt a mixture of awe and unease as she guided her people deeper into the ship's core. It was clear that this was no ordinary derelict. The shadow vessel was a relic of a forgotten war, a technological marvel and a cryptic puzzle at once. The deeper they explored, the more they realized they were not simply encountering abandoned machines, but a complex system that might still be alive in some way, waiting, observing. Mara's mind raced with questions. What had happened to the original crew? Was the ship's curse real, or just fear made manifest by isolation and time? And if there was something else on board, something that had survived beyond the end of that lost conflict, what did it want? The answers were just out of reach, wrapped in the cold shadows of this haunted ship. Outside, the galaxy continued to spin, indifferent to the small human team taking the biggest risk any had dared. But Mara and her crew were ready to face whatever lay ahead, because for humans, surrender was never an option, and every danger was just another challenge waiting to be overcome. As the human crew moved deeper into the heart of the shadow vessel, the narrow corridors twisted and turned in a confusing maze that seemed to shift with every step they took. The walls, once dull and lifeless, began to flicker with strange pulses of energy, faint glows that danced like restless spirits trapped in metal. An uneasy silence filled the air, broken only by the soft hum of ancient machinery awakening after a long slumber. Suddenly, a distorted voice crackled through the ship's intercom system. A fragmented and garbled AI that had been dormant for untold years, now flickering back to life. Its words were broken and its tone unpredictable, making it difficult for the crew to understand whether it was friend or foe. The atmosphere grew heavier as the ship seemed to respond to their presence, corridors narrowing and walls subtly rearranging to confuse and mislead. Hidden traps, likely intended to protect the ship from intruders, activated without warning. Panels shifted open to reveal deep pits, strange energy fields flickered into existence, and holographic illusions appeared, designed to misdirect and terrify. Among these dangers were strange, shimmering entities, almost invisible but for the faint glimmer of energy that marked their presence. These beings seemed to flow and ripple through the ship's walls like living light, reacting to the crew's movements with a curious intelligence. The aliens who had previously boarded these vessels had been overwhelmed, their efforts ending in silence and disappearance, victims of both the ship's defenses and these mysterious entities. However, the humans approached the threat differently. Rather than panic or retreat, they used their unique advantage, adaptability. With a mixture of quick thinking and teamwork, they learned to read the patterns of the shifting corridors and predict the traps. Their problem-solving skills allowed them to hack into some of the ship's systems, temporarily disabling certain defenses, while their physical agility helped them navigate the hazards. Captain Mara Voss led her crew with calm determination, reminding them that every challenge was a test of their resilience and ingenuity. As they pressed onward, Mara uncovered fragments of data stored deep within the ship's archives. The information painted a grim picture. These shadow vessels were once experimental war machines, created during a devastating galactic conflict that had shattered alliances and reshaped civilizations. Their original purpose had been to wield overwhelming power, but the project had failed, leaving these ships abandoned and forgotten. The data hinted at the catastrophic consequences of their use: destruction on a scale no one dared to repeat, and the terrifying energy that still lingered, haunting the corridors. The truth raised more questions than answers. Why had these ships been left to drift? What had caused their creators to disappear? And could the energy entities be remnants of the conflict itself, survivors of a battle beyond physical form? Each discovery deepened the mystery and increased the stakes. The crew felt the weight of the past pressing down on them as they navigated the living maze. Yet, despite the dangers, the humans refused to give in to fear. Their curiosity burned brighter with every obstacle, fueling their determination to uncover the secrets of the shadow vessels. The unknown threat was real and deadly, but it was no match for the human spirit that thrived on challenge and risk. In the cold depths of the abandoned warship, where other species had failed and fallen, humans adapted, survived, and moved forward, proving once again that their greatest strength lay not just in their technology, but in their courage and unyielding will to survive. As the dangers around them multiplied, the human crew began to understand the strange workings of the shadow vessel in ways no other explorers had before. While past crews had seen only threats and traps, the humans saw opportunity in the ship's unpredictable systems. Rather than avoiding the unstable control panels and flickering energy sources, they learned to use them to their advantage. Mara's engineers, with quick minds and steady hands, managed to pilot the ship's ancient, malfunctioning controls, pushing the unstable engines and power cores just enough to gain insights into the ship's secrets without triggering the destructive failsafes. Their willingness to take calculated risks allowed them to activate areas of the ship that had remained unreachable for centuries. Improvisation became their greatest weapon. When systems failed or turned hostile, the crew adapted on the spot, using spare parts and alien technology in new ways that surprised even themselves. This fearless approach was something other species had never dared to try. Humans embraced danger as part of their nature, and it gave them a unique edge in this hostile environment. Meanwhile, back on the Intrepid Dawn, Mara's second-in-command, Lieutenant Kalen Rios, worked tirelessly to maintain communication with the Coalition's alien members. Many remained wary of humanity's reckless mission, but Kalen's calm and persistent diplomacy began to change minds. He secured additional resources and backup support, demonstrating that humans were not just bold explorers, but reliable partners when the stakes were high. His efforts showed that human resilience extended beyond courage in the field. It was also present in negotiation and alliance building, two skills crucial to survival in the vast galaxy. Deep within the ship's core, the human team stumbled upon a hidden chamber, sealed behind layers of advanced security systems that finally yielded under their careful manipulation. Inside, they found an ancient data crystal containing a message from the ship's original creators. The message was clear and urgent, a grave warning about a lurking galactic menace that had driven the creation of these experimental war vessels. The creators spoke of an enemy not just powerful in technology, but one that could corrupt and consume entire star systems if left unchecked. The shadow vessels had been built as a desperate last defense against this threat, a threat so dangerous it had forced civilizations into a devastating war that had ended with the ships abandoned and the enemy never fully defeated. The revelation sent a shiver through the crew. What had happened to this menace? Was it still out there, waiting to strike again? And could the strange energies haunting the ship be connected to that dark force? The humans realized their mission was no longer just about exploration or survival. It had become a race against time to understand and prepare for a danger that might threaten the entire galaxy. Even in the face of this unknown enemy, Mara's crew remained unbroken. Their ability to take risks, adapt quickly, and think creatively gave them a growing confidence. They were no longer just victims or explorers. They were the first line of defense against a cosmic shadow that others had feared to face. This moment marked a turning point, not just in their mission, but in how the galaxy would soon view humanity. Far from reckless, the humans showed a unique strength, a fierce hope that no matter how great the danger, surrender was not an option. With every challenge they overcame, they wrote a new story of courage and ingenuity, one that would inspire generations across star systems. As they prepared to leave the hidden chamber, the crew knew their greatest test was still ahead, but they were ready to face whatever darkness awaited them, armed with the knowledge, skill, and unbreakable spirit that made them human. Just as the human crew prepared to leave the shadow vessel with the priceless data they had uncovered, an unsettling change rippled through the ship's atmosphere. The once silent corridors began to pulse with a deep mechanical rhythm, and warning lights flickered erratically. Suddenly, the dormant defense systems, long thought to be inactive, surged to life with a terrifying intensity. From the depths of the ship's core emerged a massive, sentient machine entity. A towering construct of metal and energy, its form constantly shifting and glowing with an inner light that pulsed like a heartbeat. It was clear this guardian had been designed to eliminate any intruders, and now it had locked onto the human crew with cold, unyielding purpose. Unlike the crews before them, who had fled or fallen silent, the humans stood their ground. Captain Mara Voss immediately ordered her team to split and use every resource at their disposal. Engineers scrambled to hack into the ship's network, trying to disrupt the machine's control systems, while others crafted makeshift weapons from alien technology and spare parts. The ship's unpredictable energy fluctuations, once a threat, now became an advantage as the humans learned to channel these surges, using bursts of raw power to stun and confuse the relentless entity. Their tactics were unorthodox and desperate, combining courage with quick thinking in a way that no other species had dared. The battle was not just one of brute force, but of wits and resilience. The machine's attacks were powerful, sweeping, metal limbs and energy beams that tore through the air, yet the crew's teamwork allowed them to dodge, outmaneuver, and counterattack in unexpected ways. Every member of the team played a vital role, their unity and creativity turning what could have been a massacre into a fierce contest of survival. As the conflict escalated, Mara realized that brute force alone would not win this fight. The entity was more than a machine. It seemed to possess a form of intelligence, perhaps even emotion, bound to the ship's ancient mission. In a daring decision, Mara chose to confront it directly. Approaching the entity's core chamber, she began communicating through a complex sequence of codes and signals she had deciphered from the ship's data. Her words were precise and calm, carrying the message that the humans were not enemies, but seekers of knowledge, not destroyers, but allies. The entity paused, its glowing eyes flickering as if processing her message. Time seemed to stretch as the massive Guardian weighed its response. Then, slowly, the aggressive energy surrounding it began to dissipate, and the machine retracted its weapons. It was as though Mara's courage and understanding had reached the very heart of the ship's defense system, convincing it to stand down rather than destroy. The crew breathed a collective sigh of relief, knowing they had survived an ordeal that would have ended the mission for any other species. This moment marked a profound turning point, not just in their mission, but in the way humans proved their exceptional spirit. They had faced a threat born from the darkest parts of war and abandonment, and through bravery, creativity, and empathy, they had turned an enemy into a guardian. Captain Mara's boldness had opened a path forward, one where human determination and wisdom combined to face the unknown with strength and hope. As the ship's systems settled into a quiet hum once more, the crew prepared to leave, carrying not only valuable knowledge, but also a powerful message. Humanity's refusal to surrender, their ability to adapt and connect even with the most alien forces, would define their place among the stars. This battle had tested their limits, but it also revealed what made them unique: an unbreakable spirit that no danger could extinguish, a hope that shone brighter than any star in the dark reaches of space. The journey back to Coalition space was filled with a mixture of relief and quiet triumph. The human expedition, once viewed with skepticism and concern by their alien allies, now carried with them proof of something far greater than anyone had expected. The data recovered from the shadow vessel held the keys to ancient technologies and knowledge that could change the balance of power across the galaxy. Scientists and engineers on the Intrepid Dawn worked tirelessly to analyze the information, unlocking secrets that promised advancements in energy, defense, and communication far beyond what current civilizations possessed. The victory was not just in survival, but in the vast potential humanity now held in their hands. As news of their success spread through the Coalition, attitudes toward humans began to shift dramatically. Where once they had been seen as reckless risk-takers who charged headlong into danger without caution, they were now respected as bold pioneers whose unique combination of fearlessness, adaptability, and creativity could change the course of galactic events. Alien leaders, who had doubted the humans' ability to navigate the mysteries and threats of the shadow vessels, began to seek their counsel and cooperation. This newfound respect was not merely for their courage, but for the undeniable results they had achieved when others had failed or given up. Captain Mara Voss became a symbol of this transformation. Her calm leadership and unwavering belief in the value of risk had guided her crew through perilous trials and brought back knowledge that no one else had dared to claim. Her words echoed throughout the star systems, inspiring not only humans, but beings of all races. We never surrender, because we understand that the greatest discoveries require the greatest risks. These words captured the essence of humanity's spirit, a spirit forged through hardship, curiosity, and a refusal to be limited by fear. Humanity's role in the Coalition grew stronger, and their presence became a beacon of hope and determination. The story of the Shadow Vessel expedition was told and retold, reminding everyone that in the darkest moments of uncertainty and danger, it was human daring and resilience that could lead the way forward. The galaxy had faced many threats, and many challenges remained ahead, but with humanity now firmly part of the Alliance, there was a renewed sense of possibility. The humans had proven that boldness was not recklessness, and that sometimes, stepping into the unknown with courage and an open mind was exactly what was needed to unlock new horizons. The Intrepid Dawn and its crew returned not just as explorers, but as champions of a future where different species could learn from one another, share strength, and face whatever darkness awaited with united resolve. This mission marked the beginning of a new chapter for humanity and the galaxy. A chapter where daring and resilience were recognized as the forces that could turn the tide in moments of crisis. In every corner of the Coalition's vast space, whispers of human courage stirred the imaginations of young and old alike, fueling dreams of discovery and hope. And as Captain Mara looked out at the stars from her ship's bridge, she knew this was only the start. The galaxy was vast and full of secrets, but with humanity's spirit leading the way, no shadow was too dark, no danger too great, and no frontier too distant. Their journey had proven one undeniable truth. Humans never surrender, because they understand that true greatness comes to those willing to face the unknown with fearless hearts and unbreakable will.